Now, what did we discuss yesterday, guys? What did we discuss yesterday?
Integer data type and conversion of integer to string and string to integer.
Data type. We have already discussed the string. And yesterday we have discussed about the integer. And after that, type casting. Type casting we have discussed, which is a conversion. Now, yesterday I have given a homework. Is everybody done it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's say, Jyoti, have you completed yesterday's assignment? Jyoti? Ram Reddy, have you completed yesterday assignment? Akash, have you completed the assignment yesterday? Okay, Jyoti, you have completed, right? So can you share your screen?
No, ma'am, not for yesterday. Did for day before yesterday. I will do it today.
Okay, Jyoti, can you share your screen?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Ma'am, I am in traveling, ma'am, right now. Going to the institute.
Okay, Hindi. Praveen, have you completed? Praveen, have you completed the assignment?
Ma'am, I have done the assignment yesterday in the anonymous window, but it didn't get not save, ma'am. So when I closed it and now I opened, so it was not there. Even I have not created a class for that.
Yes. Can you share your screen and show me what are the code you have written for the yesterday's homework? Can you
Ma'am,
write
it's
it?
not, that only I'm saying, ma'am, it's not there here. Actually, I have now opened. Now it's not there.
The reason is, whenever we are writing any code in anonymous window, that will not be saved in the system. That will not be saved in the database. Anonymous window is nothing but it's a testing purpose or a practice purpose. So whatever we are testing it, whatever we are practicing it, it won't be saved. If you want it should be saved, then you have to create a class. Now, can who is ready right now? Can anyone show the program yesterday you guys have written?
Ma'am, I can show, ma'am.
Okay.
If you can enable me
I'm
screen
giving
sharing.
access. Yeah.
Can you see my screen, ma'am?
Yes, I can see.
Yeah. So which program you want to see?
Show me the programs, the homework, yesterday's homework list. Question, homework list.
So this is like from P1 to P5. These are the 5 programs for yesterday.
Show me the cylinder area, P1.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Did anybody observe here? Yesterday I have given an assignment 3.14 multiply by H multiply by capital D and hyphen small d.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yesterday's assignment, the one which I have given.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the difference there, capital D and minus D? Karthik, can you open the PDF, the one which I have shared in the homework?
Excuse me, there na, it was a capital D. When I did it with a small d, na, it was not accepting it. So
It's
I have to
showing
give
that a
other
So
duplicate
it is
variable.
date.
showing an error.
Duplicate
like,
value, it was showing
duplicate
Duplicate,
value is
yeah.
this thing.
change the other value, the other D to any 1D or 2D or something else we have changed, it was
Is
working.
it
well.
a duplicate value or duplicate variable?
Duplicate
Duplicate
variable.
variable.
Sorry.
Why it is showing? What is the reason?
Because
Case
the
sensitive.
capital D and the
Insensitive.
small d, when we are giving together, this showing as a duplicate value. D is the only value. For D only we are giving two values.
Not case
Either
Maybe
it
it
is
is a case
capital
sensitive,
not
ma'am.
case sensitive.
Case sensitive, ma'am.
It is not
Not
case
case
It
sensitive.
is
So
not a
Not
case
case
sensitive.
case
It
sensitive.
is
Yes.
not a
Yeah.
case sensitive. That means it is a in case
In
sensitive.
case sensitive.
Okay, that is fine. Execute this program.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so uncheck the debug only. Explain me these events. Expand the event and explain me how the execution is happening.
So here the execution has started. Then the class P1 cylinder area. So for the class execution has begun. Then these are all the variables which I have declared. Sorry, this is the heap allocation done like before starting execution of the program. So then the first line of the statement is getting executed.
Yes, after that.
Yeah. So then the method execution is started here. So after the method execution, then again the heap allocation, which is like the default heap allocation happens for every program. So that is again been done here after the method is executed. Then I can see like the variables are
Can anybody give the information about this debug clock? Yesterday we have discussed. What is happening from the beginning go up, Karthik?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you explain, Rafi? Can you explain what is happening in the debug log?
Ma'am, I am not attended yesterday class, ma'am. I got fever.
Okay. Shruti, what is happening from the beginning?
Even I understood the same, ma'am. I was able to do the program and all. I have got the output and all.
But it is important to understand the debug logs, how the execution is happening.
Ma'am, here I can see the variable is being assigned and there is a memory allocated to the variable integer. So this is the first variable OD.
Variable scope begins, okay.
So this is the OD is the variable name and 4 bytes is the memory allocated to the integer variable. And here variable assignment. So I give 6 as a value for the variable. So the variable assignment begin here, like it assigned 6 value to the variable OD. And then the statement after line 5, it came to line 6. And this is the second variable which is initialized. So memory got allocated for that as well. Like as it is an integer, again, we see 4 bytes here.
Then what
And,
is the
the
first one which says variable scope begin? Scroll up.
Yes, ma'am.
Up. The starting. The starting of the debug log. Go up. So what is
Okay.
this variable scope begin?
This is the default default variable, like for the class, like even a class and a method also will store some memory for that. So yesterday, like you explained that this allocation is related to that, like when a class or a method executes, like the system will allocate some memory for that.
Is it a variable or is it a class? The first one.
That is a class,
So,
ma'am.
on top
because
in the debug log, let me explain. So on the top, it is going to tell. So whenever the code is executed, it executes in the two mode. One is user mode and another one is system mode. Whenever the code executes in Salesforce in the Apex, user mode and system mode. Okay. By default, whenever you execute a code, it always executes as a Salesforce admin, which is a system. So that's the reason user info on top you see here, whoever is the admin is there, that's the person it is going to display, because system mode or a user mode, whenever it is a system mode, by default in the system, whoever is the org is created, right? Whoever is the admin for that org, like a organization email. So there is a specific contact person for that org. So as that person, it gets executed. So first line is going to explain about how I'm executing the program, as a which user I'm executing the program. So that is the user information it will give. And the second line, execution started. And now the code unit started. Code unit started is nothing but from the anonymous window, whatever the lines you have started. Code unit. That means testing code, whatever anonymous window you have written, that code is started executing it. And variable scope begins. Now, in the anonymous window, the first line you have declared it. Can you open the anonymous window? Debug anonymous window. Debug anonymous window. Yes. Now, in the first line, we have declared it P1 cylinder area new equal to prime cylinder equal to new P cylinder area. That means I am creating the instance of the object in the first line. We are creating the instance of the object first line. So that's the reason if you observe in the variable scope begin in the debug log, first line, it says cylinder. First line, it says cylinder, right? Can you highlight that cylinder? No, not here. The debug log, in the debug, open the debug log, click on that.
Yeah.
The variable one, not this one. Variable scope, just double click on this variable scope begin. Okay. So here if you see, the first one, it says cylinder. That means what we are doing in the variable scope begins. Where is the scope is beginning? In the first line, we are creating the instance of the object. Whenever we create an instance of the object, that object name it will take it, and what is the instance of which class is displaying in the second. So in between you have a pipes. So this is the first one, and after that it is going to refer the class and when it is true. So the first line explains about your instance of the object, how you have declared it, what is the variable that, what is the object name you have specified it. So that is the information. It starts from the variable scope begins. Click on close button. Now, so once it is, that means instance of object, there is a memory is created at the backend. Now, whenever the memory is created for the instance of the object, definitely is going to see how much allocation do I need to do. So below you can see all of these are heap allocation. By default, system is going to allocate the heap allocation.
Ma'am,
Then,
like I have one question here.
yeah.
Ma'am, like here the cylinder, whatever is the cylinder, what is the data type of that?
Data type will be for the object, it does not have a data type. So whenever Salesforce is going to identify, it is not a variable. It is not a variable. If it is a variable, definitely we can consider as a data type, but this is an object. So Salesforce is a smart enough to identify whether it is an object or variable. If it is an object, now it is going to by default, first it will assign the 3 bytes and then check it will how many lines of code is written in the class. Based on that, bytes gets increased. And so this will be increased, or there is some logic which is written by the Salesforce in order to allocate the bytes for the classes. For variable, it's based on the byte. Like if you are declaring the variable, you need to provide the data type. Definitely we need a byte. But for class, we are not required the data type. So by default, Salesforce is identify that.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so then we have a statement execute. We are executing the first line of from the anonymous window, not from the class. Statement execute, first line is the anonymous window, right? So from the anonymous window, we will be doing the execution of first line. Then it is allocated. Then after that, in the second line, we are calling the cylinder.m1 cylinder area. The method we are calling it, right? So here in the anonymous window, the second line we have here is cylinder.m1 cylinder area method. So in this case, first it needs to understand here cylinder. First line is executed perfectly fine. What is the cylinder here? Cylinder.m1 cylinder area. So at the backend Salesforce, first try to see who is the cylinder here. Cylinder is nothing but it will go back to the previous code and it will check what is the class. What is the class it has. Now that class it is going to get it here, which is a method. The first it is going to check that what is the class it is going to identify. So first it will identify this P1 cylinder area. Now it will tell us as a method entry and method exit, but it is not purely a method entry or method exit. This is a class declaration, right? So whatever the new cylinder P1 cylinder area open close bracket is there, that's exactly it is going to display here. Now scroll down. Now after that we have a heap allocation, then go on. Then it starts from here, P1 cylinder area. Then we are going to call the now cylinders. Here it is creating the one assignment. The cylinder is actually object. Now it is blank. Right now this object does not have any value within this. Right now it is just a blank. Right now it is just a blank object. The instance of the class is just a empty. Right now it is an empty array. From this empty array, we are going to enter into the method M1 cylinder area. So from this M1 cylinder area, now it is actually begins into the, once it is called, then it will go to the your class. Now, after method entry, again, we have a variable scope begin. Where it is going to the class. Right? So
Yes.
method it is taking from the anonymous window. From this method, it is going to the class. And from the class, it is displaying all this information, whatever you have declared it.
Here is I am having it out like in the integer variable scope begin and the above one variable scope begin for the class. After integer or after the P1 cylinder area, there are two I can see false and false, and the and for the class I can see like true and false.
There is
Can
some logic which is written at the backend for the Salesforce. So once that is executed, they will give the output in the form of pi. So what is the value and what is the variable name or a object name, whether there is a value or not, whether there is a no value. So this, whatever you see, for example, if you take here ID, pi, integer, pi, and then false, pi, and false. So you have a division. There is a slight line is the division. So each one is a one specific one. Now let me share my screen.
Are you everyone
Whenever
is
the sorry,
everyone is getting or anyone has doubts?
now Salesforce is going to give us the every line output. Whether it is a single line or it is a big line, even variable discussion, every line it is going to give the information. But there is a division here, 5 division will be there. If it is a variable, it will give you what is the data type here, let's say string, and then variable name, let's say num1, and then what is the expected value and what is the value that is it is provided. What is the value it is going to provide it. So Salesforce is going to give us the result like this. So this false, false or true, false, it is going to basically whether Salesforce is identified or not. So there is a logic which is written in the backend. Based on that, we will get the output. But this does not make a difference of the our code. This is whether it is allocation is allocation is happening at the backend or not. So that is the logic which is going to give us. This is just a variable or a variable assignment or variable scope begins. Right, so whether we are able to identify that particular variable or an object, whether this is having a proper information or not. So that is the output of that is this is the one. If the variable assignment is there, then you will have a num1 and then 5, 10 like this it will be there. So which will be in the, if it is a array format, it is going to show here array. If it is a no value assigned, it is going to show like this.
yes, ma'am, got it. Thanks.
Any other question on the debug log?
So this is just for our understanding, right, ma'am? This isn't gonna be
Yes.
something like the interview questions or something, right?
No, it is not an interview question. This is as a programmer, how can I understand the code? So in the real time, what will happen is we will get a certain issues, right? We have to, like if it is a production issue, I need to debug that issue. If I have to debug, because I need to find out what is the cause of the problem. If I want to find out the cause of the problem, definitely we need to debug the code or I need to recreate it. So whenever I'm debugging it, how the execution is happening, which all are places, like there are so many in real time. This is one class I'm executing it, but in real time, you will have a huge, very big logs will be there. When we have a very big logs, now if you have a problem in the assignment, so what you can do in the logs, you can search here assignment. You can search simply assignment. So that means I know that variable assignment is going to happen only within this. So in that case, I can say variable assignment. right? So it is going to find the exact one. It's not giving. Now let's say here, this is the variable assignment is there. Now you can copy this somewhere your code, like you have very big code is there, very big size is there. So right now this log size is 3.59 KB. This log size is 3.59 KB. Now in real time, we will have a very big number of size, like it will be like it will be maybe 10,000 KB or maybe gigabyte, something will be very high will be there, right? So in that case, if you want to identify, for example, I wanted to identify only the one which are executable. Now, if I click on this executable, in the executable, I can see that variable assignments definitely will be there when the method is executing, when the method is entering it, I can find out. So I can sort it here executable. So if we know these events, it is easy to identify where is the issue. Or if you want to search only the debug logs, you can put a debug log. Event is a user debug. Event is user debug. So as soon as you click on debug only, you can find the debug user debug. So these events are important to debug your code or analyze the code, how the execution is happening it.
Yes, ma'am. Got it. Thanks.
Okay. So yesterday we have seen the integer. Now we have another data type long. Now what is the difference between the integer and long? What is the integer size and what is the difference between the integer and long? Simple scenario. What is the simple logic? More size for long. Okay. How much is the limit for the integer? Yesterday we have discussed.
Four bytes, madam.
Okay. This is for integer or this is for the long?
Integer.
Integer 4 bytes, which is nothing but a 32-bit, right? Whereas long is 64-bit. 64-bit. Integer is a 32-bit, long is a 64-bit, which is more data you can occupy. Let's say, for example, I'm going to declare the one integer. Let's say I'll declare it here, integer. Integer I1 equal to, let's say I'm going to declare it 6477. Now, I'll execute this. Execute the highlighted one. It is working perfectly fine. Right, so variable declaration is happening. Variable assignment is happening. 2, 1, 4. Whatever the data I have given, the variable assignment is happened. Now let's say, for example, I'm going to increase this. Now execute the same one. Illegal integer. So previously what happened, when I say this one, it is working fine. Now same thing I'm declaring it. I2, where it has a more numbers I'm providing it and I'll execute the both of them. Executed. Now line number 13, column 12, illegal integer. Line number 13 is nothing but this is the 13th line. This is the 13th line. Integer I2 equal to whatever, if we have a more number. Now it is giving me the illegal assignment. Whenever say illegal assignment is nothing but what? Yesterday we have seen the error illegal integer or illegal variable. What is the yesterday's error? Yesterday also we have seen the error.
Illegal assignment from string to integer or integer to string.
Right. And today illegal integer. What is this means? Illegal integer is nothing but
A lot of size is
Out of
small.
range.
Integer
Size
size
is-
exceeds.
Out of range.
out of range, size is more, right? So what should we do? How can we resolve this one?
Change the data type.
Change the data type. One way is to change the data type. Okay. Another way,
Typecasting.
typecasting. So one is, let's say long L1 equal to, now I'm providing here. After this data, I need to provide L. At the end, you need to specify L. Now I'm using the integer long here. Now how about if I use the integer? I'll use the integer and I'll use L at the end. Now let's show you that. Now here I have specified L. L is nothing but it's a long, which is a 64-bit. 64-bit. Now I'm going to print the values of this system.debug. And let's say here integer I1 plus. Are you guys are doing with me? You guys have to do it. I1 and then again use the system.debug integer I2 plus I2. Again in your system.debug. Now here, if I execute this, I'll see one error. What is the error? If I execute these 4 lines, 12 to 15, I'll get an error. What is the error? I'll get it.
Variable error.
Variable, duplicate variable. Because I
I2.
have an integer I2, again integer I2, which should be I3. And again, I'm going to put a debug here, system.debug, and this is a long L1. Now here I'm going to specify L1. Now let's highlight this and click on the execute highlighted one. What it is saying that illegal integer, which is a second line, perfectly fine. This we cannot go ahead. So second system.debug will not be there. Now again, I'm executing it. Illegal assignment from long to integer. Which one it is, which line it is giving the error?
14.
14 line.
14.
So which is this one, right? Because this side it is an integer and this side I'm providing the data which is value which is related to the long, which is a out of limit I'm providing it. Here, this error is what was this error, the first one? What is the first one error? Able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there was a network gap, network issue. Let me share again. The first one is illegal integer and the next one is illegal assignment from long to integer, right? So we need to add a comment. So whenever in the code we are writing it, just remember this, whenever the code we are writing it, it always we need to add a comment. One of the best practice of the coding is adding a comments. Now, what we are doing here, testing the testing primitive data type long.
Ma'am, sorry to stop. In this line 13 and 14, even though you write the comments there, those lines will be executable, ma'am.
Whatever the lines are commented will not be executed.
Okay.
Whatever the lines you are commenting, those lines will not be executed. Now I have a integer I1 equal to this value and long L1 equal to this is the. Now let's see here, whenever I provide this.
Ma'am, we have to comment 19 as well, right?
19 I3, yes.
Okay.
Now let's execute. Debug. So first one, it is giving me the integer I1 2144836477, which is correct. And L1, if I say here 214483664777, whatever the till end, whatever the values are there, all the values it is printing. Let's say if I do not provide L. No, I don't want to provide the L. I'll declare the data type long L2 equal to, I'll specify this value, but I'll not provide the L at the end. So let's see what will happen here. L2. Now let's execute. Execute the highlighted one. Now there is no error. It is working fine. Why it is working fine? What is the reason it is working
Data
fine?
type is long, man. That's all.
Data type is
Long.
okay. Data type is long. Okay. Then
the size of the long is 64 bits, so that's why it is working. But where integer is 32 bits, so the long memory is so high compared to integer, so that's why it is working.
so long data type, long limit is 64 bit. If you give a less also, it will work perfectly fine, right? Because this is within the limit. Whatever the value we have provided, this is within the limit. Is everybody clear with the long?
Madam, in integer type, typecasting is possible, madam.
Yeah, that is the next step. Let's do it. Now I wanted to typecast. So here, this is giving the illegal assignment from the long to integer. But I want the output to be integer. How can we do that? How can we do that? I want the output should be in the integer format, right? And I'll provide here value which is a more than the limit, which is a L. So let's take this one. Now I know if I execute this, I'll get an error saying that illegal assignment from long to integer. But I want the output in the integer format itself. What can we do?
Typecasting, ma'am.
Typecasting, okay. How we will do that?
Integer equals to
value of
integer value of long
Integer
value of
and we are providing here the data.
yes.
Now what will happen if I execute this? What is the output? Will I get it?
think
What
we'll
is the
get it,
output?
but
Wherever school.
10 digits remain.
Same number,
It's an
ma'am.
integer, ma'am. You will get
Integer.
Up to where it will give.
Up to 10 digits.
Up to 32 bits.
Now up to what it is given here?
10 digits.
Is it a 10 digits or did it converted its own?
It's converted to its own.
Converted.
It's converted, and what is the value it is showing? -18. Actual value that I have given is this one. If I convert long to integer, what will happen is at the back end, there is some execution is happening. And then it converts its own language, which is going to fit in their limit. Whatever the integer limit is there, it converts and it will adjust the number and make some calculation there. Whatever the limit of integer is there, accordingly, it will change the number and put it into the integer. So you will see completely different value if you convert the long to integer. So that's the reason we will not do the typecasting for if you want to convert long to integer. In real time, we don't do the typecasting of long to integer. The reason is we will get the complete incorrect value. Complete incorrect value, we will get it. Now, whereas you can, if you do the long, let's say long L3 equal to, I wanted to convert this long dot value of, I'm going to give the integer number here, long L3, and then I'm going to print here long L3, and the output will be L3. Now execute this, execute the highlighted one. Method does not exist or incorrect syntax, value of integer. It should be integer here. It should be long. Now, if I convert this integer to long, so what will happen? It will give me incorrect. The method does not exist. So because the long is whatever the data you are providing, it has to be in the single quotes. That means you can convert this. Now let me execute this, putting the single quotes. Now it gets converted. Now if you provide the integer to convert long, which is not possible. Now, whatever the integer is there, that integer you need to provide it in the single quotes, which is nothing but in a string format. Because long dot value of expect the string here. The syntax for the typecasting for the long is you need to provide the long dot value of, within this you need to provide the string value. String value you need to provide it. You cannot provide the integer. If you want to convert the integer also, first you need to convert the integer to string and string to long. Take a homework. Now yesterday's homework is, what is the number that we have given? The last homework?
15.
Calculate monthly salary. So you need to calculate the monthly salary and output has to be converted to string and then long. Display the output. Simply convert this into calculate the monthly salary and display the output in long data type. How do you calculate the monthly salary here? Nobody knows. How do you do? What is your annual salary? How do you calculate it? What is your basic salary? How do you know that?
Annual salary divided by 12.
Sorry?
Annual salary divided by 12.
Annual salary divided by 12.
It's calculated to monthly salary.
And how about tax? Because there is a tax deduction will be there. So what are the variables you need to declare it in order to do this? So in our
Gross value, PF value.
yes, so you need to declare the gross salary, HRA, what is a HRA? And you need to know the medical, insurance, transport, allowance, and Provident Fund, which is a PF, and then you will have a income tax. And these values could be a integer, could be a decimal. These values could be an integer or could be a decimal. So once we have this information, so what is the formula we are going to apply?
Monthly salary is equal to gross salary plus HRA plus medical insurance.
Ma'am, you have to add to get the monthly salary, you have to add gross salary, HRA, medical insurance,
That is
transport
what I was
allowance,
telling.
PF, yeah.
Transport allowance plus PF.
And then income tax, you have to add all that for getting the monthly salary.
With the basic cost.
And then we have to convert it, that will get in the integer, then we can convert into string, then into long data type. Actually, yesterday you have gave last assignment, 5th one. Addition, subtraction, and multiplication. It's the same.
We had, ma'am, allowance one part and the deductions part, we have to take it, ma'am. Directly no salary.
Let's make it as a different here. So that is the first homework. Calculate the monthly salary, which is the annual salary divided by 12 and display the output in the long. Now let's take another one here, homework, which is a 70. Now let's say here, calculate the gross salary. Gross salary, you will be displaying it, which is where you will be combining all this information. When you get a offer letter, the first thing you need to check is what is your gross salary, which is a HRA, transport allowance, medical insurance, and income tax. This is what you will be checking it when you get an offer. Calculate the gross salary and display in long data type. Homework 18. Calculate the net salary. Net salary will be whatever the previous one is there. The previous one, you get the gross salary from the previous one. And then you need to add the medical insurance, PF and income tax, and display output. String as well as display the output in string, integer, and long. It should be in 3 different data types you need to display. Output should be string format, integer format, and long. This is about the long. Now let's give another one. That's fine. The next one which we have is, so right now we have seen the long. Long is used to store the large volume number. Data type variable equal to value. This is the syntax. So which is long and num3 equal to 1, 2, 3, whatever the number is there at the end, we need to specify L. Now limit of this one is minus 9 billion to the plus 9 billion trillion minus 9 trillion to the plus 9 trillion. And the data type ensure the value stored within the range. Whatever the range is there, it will convert the data, whatever the numbers are there. If it is more than that range, then it will convert and try to fit it into the whatever the range is, we have it in the limit. So by using the long data type, developer will be implementing to store the large number of data. So usually very less to use the long data type in the real time. The next one we will talk about the Boolean. Let's talk about the Boolean data type. Primitive data type. Boolean. Boolean is nothing but true or a false. True or false. Now let's say here, I'll declare the Boolean and let's say B1 equal to true. Or else Boolean B2 equal to false. Right, if I say Boolean B3 equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, what will happen? If I say Boolean B4 equal to 0, Boolean B5 equal to 1. Right, are you guys trying it? So make sure you guys are doing it along with me. Do you guys have any problem with the declaring the long and Boolean? Okay, so let's execute this Boolean. Now it says 48 line illegal assignment from integer to Boolean. 48 line. So which is this? What is the error it is giving? Illegal assignment from integer to Boolean.
క్లాస్ లేదంటే వాళ్ళకి తీసుకొచ్చి
We
ఎలా
are putting the
అంటుందా?
number, ma'am.
So 48 line, it is giving the error, which is a illegal assignment from integer to Boolean. So this is the error. Now, how about the rest of them? Now let me execute illegal assignment from the integer to Boolean. Same issue for which line it is showing? It is showing the error in 49 line. So it will be same for the 49 line and 42 line. So it accept only the true or false. It accept only the true or false. Now let me print this Boolean. Are you guys able to do it? Anyone is having a problem? I'm going to print it here, system.debug, Boolean, B1 and B1 value. System.debug, Boolean, B2 and B2. If I execute it, what is the output I'm going to get it?
True and false, ma'am.
What is the output I'll get it?
True or false?
True, false.
True, false, I'll get it. Okay, let's say I have an integer. Now I wanted to do the conversion typecasting from integer to Boolean. Can I do it? So let's say here I have a value Boolean, casting for the Boolean. What will be the one? Boolean dot value of. Then I'm going to provide here integer. Now, does it work if I convert this? Like, is going to work it?
No.
What is the error it is giving? Type exception. The error is different here. Type exception, invalid Boolean or a string. Invalid Boolean or a string. That means what is expecting? The syntax for this one is either you need to provide a string. String you need to provide. Either it should be a Boolean or a string. Now, if I say here, for example, let's say, now if I provide this value in the string, and if I try to execute this.
Here you are using Boolean on both sides.
Now, what is the output? Output is not displaying it. Just a second. What is the question? What is the question you have? So let's say I'm going to put this output B4. B4. Now let me print this, execute it. Now what is the output? Am I going to get it? String I have given 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, some number I have given. What will be the output?
True or false, ma'am?
Output will be the false. Because it does not understood what is this. whatever the you provided here, it will be always false. It will be always false. But if you want the output should be true, I want the output should be true. In that case, provided here true. String has to be provided true. Executed. Variable B5. Execute this. Now what is the output am I going to get? True.
True.
If I provide here, if I provide 1, what is the output am I going to get? If I
False.
say here 1.
False.
False.
Output will be the false. Except the true, whatever we provided in the string, everything will be the false.
Ma'am, what about blank value, ma'am?
If you provide a blank value, what is the output you will get? Simple answer. If I don't have any value here,
Null, ma'am. Null.
False.
does Boolean has a
False.
null?
Oh, false. False.
Whether you provide a number or anything within the string, it has to be a false. Until unless except the true, everything will be converted as a false. Take another assignment. Ask, write a program get user input for the field or for the variable are you working? Based on the input shows the based on the input display output in Boolean data type. That means you have a variable which is called as a are you working? Now, whatever the user is providing it, that means you need to declare a variable which is called as a are you working? Now, whatever the equal to value provided, that value convert into the Boolean data type. Value convert into the Boolean data type and display that value. Next one, homework 20. Declare a variable. Year pass out. And display the output in long and Boolean. Yes, sir. And that's it for today's session.